My girlfriend texted, "I found someone else. I want nothing more to do with you." I replied, "As you wish." Then I blocked her cards and stopped funding her lifestyle. A week later, her attorney was frantically reaching out to me. I'm 31 male. I'm a pretty simple guy on the surface. I run a logistics consulting firm. I started in my mid-20s with nothing but a second-hand laptop and a ton of anxiety. The first few years were brutal. 80-hour weeks, living on cheap noodles, reinvesting every penny. But about 2 years ago, I landed a major contract and then another. My niche business, after years of grinding, finally became very profitable. It affords me a comfortable life. For the last 3 years, that life included my girlfriend, Kayla, 28. When I met her, she was working as a receptionist, dreaming of being a fine arts curator. She had the passion, but not the connections or the financial freedom. I was smitten. My life had been all work, and she was this vibrant splash of color. I believed in her dream, and now, for the first time, I had the resources to help. I made her an offer. Quit the job you hate. Focus on your art history studies. Take the unpaid internships. Network. I'll cover everything. I thought we were a team, investing in our future. And I did. Her rent for a chic, art-inspired apartment downtown, $3,500 a month. The lease on her Audi A5, $800 a month, which I co-signed. Her wardrobe, her organic groceries, her art supplies. I gave her 2 credit cards as an authorized user. I never checked the statements. I'm a consultant. My life is about managing details for others. In my own life, I just wanted to trust. It was our 3-year anniversary on Tuesday. I had reservations at a place she'd been wanting to try for months. I bought her a beautiful, simple sapphire necklace. I came home a little early, excited to surprise her. She wasn't there. At 7:15 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a text from her. "Kayla, I found someone else. I want nothing more to do with you." That was it. 7 words. After 3 years of me underwriting her entire existence, I stared at the screen for a long time. The initial shock felt like a physical blow, leaving me hollowed out and breathless. There was a moment, a brief one, where I almost typed a dozen frantic questions. Why? Who? What did I do wrong? But then, a strange, cold clarity washed over me. The sheer, brutal finality of her words, "Nothing more to do with you," was, in its own way, a gift. It was unambiguous. She had drawn a line. She wanted nothing more to do with me. So, I texted back a simple 3-word reply. Me, as you wish. Then I put my phone on silent. I opened my laptop and the methodical part of my brain took over. It was like switching from being a partner to being a consultant. The problem? A terminated, non-binding personal arrangement. The solution? Dissolve all associated financial ties. Credit cards. Logged into my banking portal. Removed Kayla as an authorized user from both cards. The system confirmed the deactivation was immediate. Car lease. Logged into the auto finance portal. The lease was in my name, co-signed. I couldn't terminate it instantly, but the next payment was due in a week. I canceled the automatic payment. Apartment. The lease was in my name. I found the rental agreement PDF. The break clause required 60 days notice and a 2-month rent penalty. Annoying, but clean. I drafted a formal email to the property management company invoking the clause. I CC'd my personal email to have a time-stamped record. Streaming and subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Family, the boutique gym membership, the artisanal meal kit delivery. I went through them one by one, changed passwords, removed her profile. Phone, she was on my family plan. I initiated the process to remove her line. The whole process took about 45 minutes. When I was done, I felt nothing. Just empty. I packed an overnight bag, left the necklace on the kitchen counter, and went to stay with my brother, Luis. I didn't want to be there if she came back for her things. I didn't hear a peep for the rest of the week. The silence was its own confirmation. I figured she was busy. But on Friday afternoon, her card must have finally been declined somewhere important. The texts started, first pleading, then confused, then angry. I read them, but didn't reply. Then this morning, a full week later, I got an email. The subject line was, "Urgent, regarding Kayla Vance." It was from a partner at a downtown law firm. He stated he was representing Ms. Vance and needed to speak with me immediately regarding my summary and malicious cessation of established financial support. It seems my simple "as you wish" was not the end of the conversation she expected. Update 1. Hey everyone. The The comments on my original post were a huge help in grounding me. Thanks for that. This past week has been an education in audacity. As advised, I hired my own lawyer. My dad has used Mr. Philip for business contracts for years. He's sharp, no nonsense, and after I explained the situation, he looked at me over his glasses and said, "Well, son, it appears you've encountered a new species of predator." Mr. Philip reviewed the email from Kayla's attorney, a guy named Mr. Bobby. He chuckled at the phrase malicious cessation, calling it the legal equivalent of an angry toddler throwing his toys. It's meant to sound scary, but it has no legal teeth. Mr. Philip sent a crisp reply to Mr. Bobby. It stated that our clients were never married, had no joint assets, and that the relationship, and therefore the series of voluntary gifts associated with it, was terminated by Ms. Vance herself. He ended by stating that any further communication should be directed through him. This didn't lead to a demand for $75,000. It led to something more insidious. Mr. Bobby sent back a formal letter proposing a confidential transitional support settlement. It was full of nonsense about Kayla's significant career and emotional investment in the relationship, and how my abrupt withdrawal of support had caused her professional setbacks and severe emotional distress. They were proposing I continue to pay her rent and car payment for 6 months, and give her a parting sum of $20,000 to avoid lengthy and public litigation. It was a shakedown, pure and simple. Mr. Philip advised we ignore it completely. "Let them spend their money," he said. "Filing a lawsuit on this is filing for malpractice." The real fun started when the consequences began to bite. On Saturday, I got a frantic call from the property manager of her old apartment, Judith. Kayla had shown up with her new boyfriend, Russell. They demanded a key, which Judith refused since Kayla wasn't on the lease. Kayla apparently caused a scene, yelling about her life's work being trapped inside. Russell, trying to play the big shot, told Judith, "We can make this very difficult for you." Judith, a woman who has seen it all, just pointed at the "no trespassing" sign and suggested he read it. Then came the texts directly to me, ignoring the lawyers. "You can't just throw me out. My internship portfolio is in there. You know I have a review next week. They just called me from the Audi dealership. The payment was declined. The car is co-signed. You're ruining your own credit too. Are you stupid?" A bluff. My credit is fireproof, and one late payment I intend to settle wouldn't dent it, but nice try. Russell is a good man. He's a real estate developer, and he can't believe how you're acting. He says you're playing games you can't win. I didn't reply. I screenshotted everything and sent it to Mr. Philip. He was delighted. Direct contact after counsel has been engaged. She's a gift that keeps on giving. The dirtiest trick came yesterday. A mutual acquaintance sent me a screenshot of Kayla's private Instagram story. It was a teary-eyed selfie. The caption read, "Finally escaping a financially abusive and controlling relationship. The road ahead is terrifying, but I'm so grateful for those showing me what real support looks like. Survivor." She was painting me as an abuser for no longer paying for her life after she dumped me for another man. Mr. Philip is now drafting a cease and desist letter regarding slander. We've arranged for her to get her stuff. I have to pay 2 neutral movers to be there, and her lawyer has to be present. This time, I'm making sure there's a clear inventory list. She really thought she could just swap me out like a provider a la carte and keep all the benefits. Unbelievable. Update 2. This whole saga has taken a turn I didn't expect. The move out was a disaster, but not in the way I predicted. And the fallout from her little Survivor stunt has started to ripple outwards in ways I never orchestrated. The move out was scheduled for a Saturday morning. I hired the movers. Mr. Philip had an inventory list ready, personal effects only, and her lawyer, Mr. Bobby, was confirmed to supervise at 10 a.m. At 9:45 a.m., one of the movers called me. "Sir, the lady and a gentleman are here. They're saying their lawyer is running late and they want to get started." My stomach clenched. I immediately called Mr. Philip. He told me to tell the movers not to allow access until he arrived. Too late. The movers, trying to be helpful, had already let them into the building lobby. Mr. Philip called Mr. Bobby, who confirmed he was stuck in traffic and would be 30 minutes late. A likely story. It was a setup. I told the movers to stand their ground and only allow personal boxes to be moved. For the next half hour, Kayla and Russell apparently tried every trick in the book. They tried to bully the movers, telling them they were part of the crew Russell had hired. Then Kayla tried to cry, saying the movers were intimidating her. The flashpoint was the furniture. Kayla insisted that the custom bookshelf, the ergonomic desk, the memory foam mattress, and the 65-inch OLED TV were all gifts and therefore hers. She and Russell began trying to move the TV themselves. This is where the professionals I hired earned their money. The lead mover, a big guy, calmly stepped in front of them and said, "Folks, that item is not on my inventory sheet of approved personal effects. Please put it down." Russell puffed out his chest. "Who are you to tell us what to take?" The mover didn't flinch. "I'm the guy this man hired to prevent theft from his property. Put it down, or my next call is to the police." Right at that moment, Mr. Phillip walked in. He didn't raise his voice. He just looked at Kayla, then at Russell, then at the TV they were holding. He produced the receipts for every single piece of furniture, all clearly showing my name as the buyer. He informed Kayla that since her counsel wasn't present, her attempt to remove property constituted a breach of their agreement, and if they didn't leave with only the boxed items on the list, he would be filing a police report for attempted grand larceny. Defeated and furious, they grabbed her boxes and left. They left behind a huge mess. Scuff marks on the walls, trash on the floor. The landlord billed me $1,200 for damages. Mr. Phillip promptly forwarded the bill and the mover's incident report to Mr. Bobby. Now for the part I didn't control. My revenge, it turns out, was outsourced to the court of public opinion. Remember the #survivor post? Kayla worked as an unpaid intern at a small, prestigious art gallery. The art world here is tiny and interconnected. One of the junior curators, a girl named Leslie who I'd met a few times, saw the post. She knew me well enough to know financial abuser was a load of crap. She was disgusted. She didn't have to do anything. She just showed the post to another colleague. The story spread like wildfire. Kayla Vance, the intern who lived like a millionaire with no job, was publicly slandering the man who funded her entire life after dumping him for a real estate agent. It painted her not as a survivor, but as a deeply unserious and toxic person. The gallery director, a woman who values reputation above all, quietly told Kayla last week that her internship was not a good fit going forward. The consequences are no longer just financial, they're reputational, and I didn't have to lift a finger. Final update. I'm writing this one last time for a simple reason: to own the narrative. The original post got shared in places I didn't expect, and I want the full, true story to be the final word before I close this chapter for good. For a while after the last update, things were quiet. I donated all the furniture from the apartment to a charity that helps families get back on their feet. Watching it go felt like the final cleansing. I paid the lease break penalty, settled the last utility bills, and felt the last ties dissolve. Life became quiet. Work, gym, dinners with my brother. The anger faded, leaving a scar and a valuable lesson. The conclusion to the story came from two places. The first was from my lawyer, Mr. Phillip. Kayla's lawyer, Mr. Bobby, after receiving the bill for damages and the incident report, sent one final blustering letter. Mr. Phillip's reply was simple. He included a formal notice that any attempt to sue would be met with a counterclaim for the damages, the mover's fees, the legal fees, and a separate civil suit for defamation based on her social media posts. He ended the letter by stating, "We have all the receipts, do you?" Absolute silence. They folded. It was over. The second part of the conclusion came from Leslie, the girl from the gallery. She emailed me about 2 weeks ago. It was a simple, kind message. "Hey, I hope you're doing okay. Things got pretty messy here after Kayla left. Thought you might want to see this. Seems like her dad is setting the record straight." Attached was a link to a public Facebook post by Kayla's father. My heart sank, worried something awful had happened. But it was something else entirely. It was a long, rambling, heartbroken post. He didn't name me, but he talked about his daughter leaving a good, stable man who supported her dreams for a flashy fraud with a leased lifestyle. He wrote that the pressure of supporting Kayla's expectations without my resources had crushed the new relationship. Russell wasn't a developer. He was a commission-based agent whose flashy life was built on debt. His income was volatile. The drama Kayla brought with her, including the story of being let go from her internship for unprofessional conduct, had apparently reached his work colleagues. In a business built on reputation, being known as the guy tied up in a messy, potentially litigious drama was poison. His sales slumped. The financial strain was too much. He and Kayla had a massive, explosive breakup. According to her dad's post, Kayla had to move back home. She had no money, no internship, no car, it was repossessed, and had alienated most of her genuine friends. The fine arts curator dream was dead, replaced by the reality of living in her childhood bedroom, deep in debt. He ended by writing, "She had a ladder to her dreams and chose to jump off it for a snake." The consequences were complete. They were all natural. Her slander and entitled behavior destroyed her professional reputation. Result, her internship and future prospects in the local art scene vanished. Her new boyfriend, who was all style and no substance, couldn't afford her. Result, their relationship imploded under financial and reputational pressure. Her attempt to bully movers and sue me for made-up promises blew up in her face. Result, she got nothing but a bill and a threat of a countersuit. Do I feel good? No. There's no joy in it. There's just a quiet, somber sense of order being restored. Justice isn't a lightning bolt, it's just gravity. I replied to Leslie and thanked her for reaching out. We had a brief, friendly exchange. It felt nice to have a normal conversation with someone connected to that part of my life. It was a reminder that not everyone is a predator. My life is my own again. I'm focusing on my business and myself. I've learned to trust more slowly, to verify, and to understand that you can support someone's dream without making yourself the foundation they can kick away. I never heard from Kayla or Russell again. I have no idea what they're doing now, and I am finally, truly, okay with that. This is the end of the story.